Nisargadatta Maharaj said that people who cling to body identifications are not fit for this knowledge. Those who come to this message, somewhere there has been a crack in the structure of their personality. And by body, Nisargadatta Maharaj does not mean merely the physical body, but all the identifications that this me entity creates, which is the personality. So the physical body is included in that, but also all the psychological identifications are also included, like race, religion, caste, creed, color, gender, beliefs, ideologies, everything. And Maharaj says that the reason for your suffering is that you take yourself to be what you're not. It is the identification with the false. Because the nature of false is impermanent, transitory. So it comes and it goes. And all masters have given us the same pointer, the very one pointer. Be with that is always there. Your amness is your proof of existence. And once you know that, the world ceases to exist. And not the physical world, the psychological world that you have created in your mind. Because this me entity that believes itself to be separate from the others perceives the world in its own limited light. And that light is limited. And this limitation disrupts peace of mind. But when we really understand who we are, when there is a crack in the structure of the personality and the wholeness is glimpsed, we start becoming fit for the knowledge. We start abiding in our amness. And that leads us to the source, to the pure consciousness that we really are. But when we are identified with aspects of our life, we keep fighting to defend them. When we are over-identified with our ideology, for example, we will keep coming up with justifications, arguments to defend them. When anybody challenges, we will put up our guards immediately. We will be defensive, we will attack, and in that process, we lose our peace. So the message is very simple. Abide in the I am. This I am is the I consciousness that will take you to the source, to who you really are. There is nothing else that needs to be done. This I is the gateway to pure consciousness. And look at the irony, this I is also what creates phenomenality. When this I flows outwards as I am this and I am that, leading to identifications, then we experience suffering. And it is not that identifications by themselves are suffering. Clinging on to identifications, grasping of the identifications is suffering. Of course, one has to live with some identifications in this world so that life as we know can happen. Even when Ramana Maharishi was called by his name, he would respond. So there was an identification there. But there was also a deeper understanding that that's not who I am. It is the clinging to the identifications. I belong to this sect, this religion, this country, this race. Therefore, I am superior, inferior, and the rest of the things go on. It is then that our misery begins. Because these identifications expand as thinking mind and horizontal time. And it is this horizontal time that creates disruptions in daily living, that creates conflict in interpersonal relationships. And I'm sure you must have experienced this when you interact with people around you. The more layers of identifications, the layers of falseness you keep on yourself, the more distant you are from others. And the more distant you are from others, the more painful your relationships become. There is no fulfillment, there is no joy in those relationships because you keep hiding. You hide your thinking, you hide your beliefs, you hide what really goes on within you because you're fearful. And the reason why you're fearful is because you're identified with the false. Otherwise, there is no fear. Generally, spiritual teachings, most of the spiritual teachings, teach us to find the ultimate, the supreme consciousness through practices, through methods, through tips, tricks, techniques. And most of the people spend their entire lives practicing different kinds of meditation in the hope of achieving the ultimate bliss, the ultimate peace, but fail. And the reason is because they cling to their body identifications while they do such practices. They assume that this subject me is real. The me doing the sadhana, the practice, is real. And that is the reason why this separation is constantly maintained between the practice and the practitioner. Self-realization is when the practitioner becomes the practice. Even Ramana Maharishi said, for example, when you're doing japa, self-realization is when japa starts happening spontaneously without anyone doing the japa. That means, in that moment, body consciousness has dissolved. All identifications from all thoughts have dissolved. Just one vertical thought remains, which is I am. So again, coming back to the very basic, There's nothing to be done other than to simply be, to simply remain in this I amness, and let it lead you to the source without you taking a burden on yourself. If you take the burden on yourself, your life becomes miserable. Let the consciousness guide you, let the awareness guide you. And I've often said in many of my talks, let the awareness do its job. The problem is that you are interfering in awareness's work. But that said, if that is happening, that is also meant to happen. So to be fit for this knowledge, just examine how you are tied up to your ideas, to your beliefs, to your thoughts, and how reliving those thoughts, those beliefs, is creating a painful experience for you. Are you able to live spontaneously without worrying about an imaginary future? Are you constantly living in the dead past? Are you constantly carrying the burden of shame, blame, guilt, malice, and resentment towards others? If these things are happening, then you are identified with the body consciousness. You are identified with your mind patterns. Patterns which are automatic. And you know they trouble you, but still you struggle. You think that you can do something to be free of them. I'm saying just see them for what they are. And they become irrelevant. As you go beyond into the pure light of I amness, which remains unaffected by any of these patterns, you free yourself from becoming this or that. You free yourself from the burdens of the past, or what you did in the past, or what happened to you in the past. You become immersed in this present moment, in the now. That is the only reality. Because all future, all past, everything is playing out in this now. Even the appearance of time is playing out in this now. This now or consciousness is all there is.